We have a major development in the fight to get the Epstein files, the full and unredacted Epstein files. And we're getting information this afternoon that the Justice Department has begun the process of asking a federal judge in New York to unseal the Epstein and Maxwell files, not just the grand jury transcripts, but also the discovery material. A lot of this is what the survivors, a lot of this is what the American people have been wanting to see, but have yet to see because the Justice Department and the administration have refused to show us. Now, at the same time, the FBI is racing to complete certain redactions of individuals within the Epstein files. And we're now learning more from Bloomberg's reporting about exactly how this redaction process has gone. A major update right now, but we could be one step closer to seeing something. And that is important. So make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. So I'm going to go through all of it with you. I have the documents. They're important. And let's start with, let's see exactly what the Justice Department is asking a federal judge to essentially unseal so that they can turn it over. Because a lot of these documents, remember, yes, they're in the Justice Department's possession, but they're also discovery material. They're grand jury transcripts. Only the judge can release those. Justice Department cannot unilaterally release certain documents. So they're asking for judicial process obtained during the course of the investigation, like search warrants, pen register orders, related applications. Those would be big because search warrants provide the basis of probable cause. The second, financial records, bank records, credit checks and credit reports, credit card records, money transmitter records, brokerage, and other investment account records. That is also significant because a large number of survivors have said that the conduit behind all of this is the money, is Jeffrey Epstein's ability to move money through organizations and institutions like JP Morgan Chase, and the records are going to be critical. The third, travel records, commercial airline and private airline passenger logs. We'll probably see more of who exactly flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane and at what point and where they were going, whether they were going to Epstein's Island or elsewhere. And it's a long list. Grand jury subpoena returns from internet service providers like Instagram, Microsoft, Google. We're going to see which accounts the grand jury was trying to get access to, social media accounts, email accounts, etc. Records obtained from various government agencies. Remember, this was a widespread investigation from New York to the Virgin Islands to elsewhere. School records, I believe those would be the records of survivors in the Epstein and Maxwell cases. Search warrant returns. These are the results of search warrants conducted on laptops, conducted on physical property, etc. Materials produced by law firms, including firms representing victims. So that is going to be a heavily redacted portion, just letting you know if that's ever released, because a lot of it would be privileged, attorney-client privilege, but another part of it would be redacted because they will not release personal identifying information of any victim. Arrest reports, booking records, post-arrest statements, and photographs and/or copies of materials seized incident to arrest. The first part, not really going to be a big deal, but the last part, the copies of materials seized incident to arrest, that's anything that will be seized when they arrested Epstein in his home or Maxwell in her ranch in New Hampshire, essentially whether there were anything on their person or around them. Materials from related civil litigations, like recordings from depositions, transcripts of depositions, etc. That could be insightful, but a lot of those have already been released publicly. So we've seen a lot, but I'm sure there are more. Photographs and videos of relevant properties and locations. A lot of these photographs you may never actually see because they probably contain child sexual abuse material. Immigration records, likely of survivors. Records related to online purchases from various online retailers. Here you can see whether Epstein was purchasing gifts for people, things like that. The one that I'm interested in is materials obtained from the Palm Beach Police Department and the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. Why? Because that's the office that gave Epstein the sweetheart deal way back in the mid-2000s. Forensic examination reports related to electronic extractions of various media. That essentially is they searched his phone, they searched his computer, they put up a report, and that would be the report. Copies of photographs and other materials voluntarily produced by third parties, including victims. A lot of these you probably would already have seen publicly as well. Postal and courier records, what was coming and going from Epstein's home. Materials produced by the estate of Jeffrey Epstein, those have already been produced to the House Oversight Committee, so these may be duplicative. Driver's license and the DMV records, okay. Reports and notes of interviews of third parties and victims and certain communications relating to the same. Those are actually very important. There will likely be a lot of what are called FBI 302s. These are interviews with victims, interviews with survivors. These are, I mean, I've spoken to many survivors, and a lot of them say that their interviews with the FBI have never been made public, and they want to see those be made public. So the timeline here, Judge Engelmeyer, who's the judge overseeing this, has already asked the Justice Department to present more information essentially as to how this will work. Remember, the DOJ has about 21 days left, 22, 21 days left until they have to release the files. And these are many of the ones that they want to release that are currently under the jurisdiction of the court. Now, at the same time, Bloomberg's FOIA investigation has actually found that the FBI and the Justice Department have raced to investigate and redact a lot of information from the Epstein files. And we're now getting information about exactly what they were trying to redact, how much money they spent doing so. Remember, a big part of this is they spent time trying to redact Donald Trump's name. That was an order handed down by superiors at the FBI. And these were obtained by Bloomberg. So on May 2nd, an FBI employee from the New York field office sent an email and attached a document titled Epstein Overview Final that summarized their work. The FBI withheld that copy. I think it's important that we see exactly what Epstein Overview Final is. In addition, we have other emails showing the director has asked for status of all remaining Epstein-related reviews. So Kash Patel, who previously claimed on Capitol Hill that he didn't really know much about Epstein and stuff, well, he was directly asking for updates throughout this process. This is an email where they were talking about cameras related to the special housing unit where Epstein was housed. Certain cameras were not active at the time of Epstein's death. This is another email saying that essentially they're receiving boxes of Epstein files. They're going to start photographing, scanning, and processing physical files, essentially. So they're working on it. This part shows the amount of money that was spent. FBI agents paid personnel $850,000 in overtime working on the files from March 17th through the 22nd. That's about 4,700 hours of overtime. There were more redactions. So they were seeking guidance from the general counsel on the types of redactions that they can apply to the process. The rest of this was blacked out, but we do know from Bloomberg's reporting that some of the redactions associated with Donald Trump's name. Now, before everyone's like, well, we're never going to see the files because they're redacted. Let's look at exactly what the bill says. So this is what they have to release. Jeffrey Epstein, including all investigations, prosecutions, or custodial matters. Ghislaine Maxwell. These are all files related to Ghislaine Maxwell, flight logs, travel records, individuals, including government officials named or referenced in connection with Epstein's criminal activities, civil settlements, or more. Entities, immunity deals, internal communications. Right? This is a lot that the DOJ has to release. Here's what they can withhold. Pam Bondi can withhold a whole host of information, but I want to point you to subsection 2 here. All redactions must be accompanied by a written justification published in the Federal Register and submitted to Congress. So essentially, Pam Bondi has to provide justification as to why she's redacting anything. And if Donald Trump's name is redacted in any of these files, we will know publicly. And so it looks as though we are one step closer to receiving something, which is major news. And I will provide you updates every step of the way. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to support my work. And I will see you soon for another update.